Joining us now is Winton local and tourism volunteer Mary Pearce. Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your role?
Well, I'm a local. I was born and raised in Winton. My family have lived here for 4 generations. I'm retired now, so I do quite a bit of volunteering.
Well, the festival is now in its 13th year. Can you explain the impact it has on Winton?
Wow, where do I start? So obviously there's a huge economic a difference to the town. It brings a whole group of people to the town that wouldn't normally come here. All the hotels, motels, caravan parks are booked out, the restaurants and cafes are doing a roaring trade. So yes, we are so grateful every year. Every year we wait with bated breath thinking, is this the year they're going to say, no, we can't come anymore? But they do keep coming, so we're very grateful.
Well, the town is well known as the Hollywood of the Outback. Do you feel a change in atmosphere when the town is flooded with filmmakers?
Oh yes, very much so, yes. Great excitement and anticipation. Everyone wondering what the film students are going to come up with this year and who's going to be asked to be in their film. So yes, you can definitely feel the excitement level growing, yes.
For people visiting Winton and for people who haven't been to the town before, what tourist attractions do you recommend them visiting?
Oh, where do I start? So of course we've got our wonderful Wassing Matilda Centre and our amazing Age of Dinosaurs and Lark Quarry. But then there's lots of other little gems around the town. We've got our Caulfield and Fitzmaurice building, the old General Merchants building, and if you call it a tourist attraction, but if the warm weather is affecting you, you can always go for a dip in our lovely swimming pool that we've got down the road there. And of course the Royal Theatre over here behind me, that just goes without saying. That is a must-see for everybody. It is one of only 2 genuine open-air theatres left in Australia.
Has there been a specific film or event which you think has resonated most with the local community?
Well, I would say not so much a film or event, more the impact that the film students have had on the town and the people of the town. It's always, we love seeing them when they start making their films and they're walking around town with their cameras and popping into places and asking people to be in their films and, you know, wondering who's going to be up there on the screen at the end of the week. And the locals have really embraced them. They just love helping. Often when they start making their films, all of a sudden it'll be, oh, we need this prop or that costume or that location, and it's nothing to get a knock on your door saying, would it be all right if we use your garden for a scene in our film, or something will go up on social media? Has anybody got a bedroom we can film in or a kitchen we can film in? And on the whole, people are very accommodating. The locals just love it. They just love it.
Is there any personal experiences where you've had to personally deal with the Griffith University students?
Oh yes, there is, yes. One year they made a film entirely out the front of my little corner grocery store that I had. It was about zombies in telephone booths, because my footpath had one of the few remaining Telstra public phone boxes in the town. And I think it should have won, but it didn't. But this comes to what I wanted to say about the film students. They were there, they had to film in the dark, and they were there all night. And they couldn't leave to go and have their dinner, and I had to close the business at 7 o'clock. So they were using my power. They had an extension cord plugged in inside the store. So I said, look, I've got to go. And I just closed up the shop, left them the spare key, left the cord plugged in, and when they were finished, they just opened the store, unplugged the cord and closed the door. But because they weren't able to leave, they had to keep shooting to get it done, so they couldn't go back to where they were staying for their dinner. And so I'm blowing my own trumpet a little bit here. I felt so sorry for them. I had a kitchen at the shop, so I took some stock out of the shop, a couple of pizzas, some garlic bread, some Tim Tams and some bottles of Coke, and I heated up the pizzas and the garlic bread and took it out the front, and they had their dinner and they could keep shooting. So that was wonderful. But the main thing I wanted to say was that the Griffith University and their parents should be extremely proud, because over all the years that I've been here and I've had contact with these students, I can honestly say there's never been an incident, there's been nothing. You couldn't wish for a more polite, well-mannered, well-spoken, friendly, lovely bunch of kids. Every year it's the same, every year. So full credit to the university for sending those wonderful people out here.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your
You're
time.
welcome.
Well, joining us now is Vision Splendid Outback Film Festival Director Dr. Greg Dolgopolov. Thank you so much for being with us today, Greg. Can you tell us how the festival started and the biggest challenges involved?
Yeah, the festival started in 2014 after a screening of Mystery Road, which was made in the area. And so there was the first public screening of Mystery Road at this cinema here. It was chock full. It was such a great vibe that we wanted to put on a festival that featured films made in the area, but also focused on Outback films. So that's how it started. From that screening, and then we screened The Proposition, which was also filmed in the area, and a lot of people who lived in town had been in The Proposition, so that was pretty special. And there'd been a couple of other films and TV series filmed here, so we thought there would be more productions filmed in the Outback, and that was kind of one of the logical reasons for featuring films from the Outback. But then quickly realised that there was a lot of tourism interest in coming out to Winton to historic cinema and screening Australian films here. So that was kind of what gave it the initial impetus. But one of the biggest challenges, obviously, is the distance. It's expensive bringing big stars out here, and the time it takes. It's a day each end. So that's kind of one of the challenges. But it also means that when they're here, they're just cruising around town. So you get big stars like Dr. Jeff Morrell just cruising around the streets, or David Wenham sort of buying a coffee. So I think people like that folks make an effort to get out here.
As a founding director, how has the festival changed over the 13 years it's been running?
It's become bigger in terms of audience numbers. It's definitely expanded. That's been one of the changes. The other change has been that we continuously need to evolve, and so staying ahead of the game. But I think the key thing about festivals is not just the films; it's the events that happen around it. So each year we're kind of looking for something to connect with it. So like tonight we're doing retrospective screening of Red Dog True Blue, and we're going to have a best in show where the director of the film will audition the dogs that from the area. There's not many cinemas in Australia, probably in the world, where dogs are welcome. And this morning we had a porridge making competition alongside a documentary about porridge making, so yeah, I suppose it keeps evolving with what's happening in the world of cinema, and also what sort of appetites there are for audiences.
As a not-for-profit organisation in a regional town, how do you ensure you have enough volunteers each year?
Actually, that's the least of our problems. We've got so many volunteers. People have been coming to the festival as audience members, and then had such a good time, just want to keep coming back and put their hand up and say, can we volunteer? And say, yeah, sure, because we know them. So yeah, no shortage of volunteers for just kind of day-to-day stuff on the festival. But there's been people in town who've just helped out. Like anywhere else, it would cost thousands of dollars to move a container or build some poles for the lights. But people just say, yeah, we'll do it, and they just get it done so quickly, and and don't want anything for it. So amazing.
In terms of ticket sales, sponsorships and grants, how are these proceeds reinvested back into the local event and local community? Oh,
look, possibly in jobs and business, and I think that we did some research some years ago that we're bringing millions into the Winton economy just through tourism, because the town's full. Now obviously not everyone's here for the festival, there are people doing various things, but there's some people who used to come into town for a night and stay for 4. And so that's obviously good for tourism. I think Winton's economy is really tourist driven. We'd like to think that we reinvest in the town in just in having special events, and also the kind of the ongoing tourism promotion, like what you guys are doing, like Channel 9, Channel 7, ABC, all out here filming stuff. So that doesn't help this year's festival, but hopefully it will help other things happening in Winton, because they've got so much to show. They've got so many images of people, having a good time.
How has the festival shaped the town as a place where students are able to come and experience filmmaking firsthand and connect with industry professionals?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think, like you guys have probably walked around town and noticed there's very few young people. Like there's little kids and then there's, people well over 40. So there's a huge age gap, and you can't understand why that a lot of young people move elsewhere for the work, because there's going to be just more opportunities. So having you guys here, I think, it gives a lot of energy and to town, and people see that it's amazing young people doing stuff, and young people who live here probably see what you guys are doing and say, "Oh, that's an opportunity for us down the track." So, yeah, I think that's awesome.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that's all for today, folks. Make sure to tune in every night from 9 p.m. on CTV Plus as we take you behind the scenes of the Vision Splendid Outback Film Festival and showcase the heart and soul of Winton. Good night for now.